It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NBA.
Joel Embiid is clearly having a bit of a struggle with the pace of the FIBA game. Is there any thought at possibly rotating him with Anthony Davis or Bam Adebayo right now?
These next few games, I'm going to continue to experiment with the lineups, and Joel is getting better and better every day. It usually takes big guys a little bit longer to get rhythm and flow, but I love Joel. He's a dominant player, and I think it's going to be important for us to figure out the best combinations and putting the right people together.
Steve Kerr asked if he will bench Joel Embiid. The United States beating Australia 98-92 in an Olympic tune-up game. U.S. was up by 24 in the third quarter. Lead got cut to 6 in the fourth. It got tense, PK.
It did, huh? I'm just happy that they added Derek White to the roster.
Because?
We finally got a white guy on the team.
See, there it is. Wordplay.
I thought you were going to say something about Jaylen Brown and him claiming that his Nike criticism has cost him his spot.
No. The latest with Jaylen Brown, he said Bronny's not a pro. They caught him reading lips. Somebody read his lips to his, is it his wife or just his girlfriend?
His significant other.
Yeah, I don't like that term. Let's narrow it down. It's like you don't say something is 4/8 of something. You get it down to the lowest common denominator. That's what I was taught. You say it's a half.
Hey, I'm 6/12 of the way to my goal. Leave me alone.
Right. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Know what you're saying. Anthony
Davis led the way, 17 points, 14 boards. Devin Booker, your truth-telling Phoenix Sun. Performances like this will not get us the gold medal. So the gauntlet has been thrown down.
Well, you've got to be crusty right now. I mean, you can't be fat and happy. You got to win this thing. When's it start?
Opening ceremony of the 26th.
No, when's the basketball start?
I think it runs the whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah, it goes.
Well, when's the whole thing? That don't tell me nothing. Oh, it runs the whole thing. Okay, I got it. Thank you.
I think what he just said about the 26th.
So they play on the 26th? Is that July or August?
July. It starts in July and ends in August.
Because I'll hopefully be able to watch. I want to watch.
It runs the 27th through August 10th.
Yeah. I'll be paying attention. I didn't pay attention to the exhibition game. I don't know what, draw on that. But when they start to count, and they pool play it, right, and all that stuff, and yeah, I'll be interested in it for sure.
Clippers president of basketball operations Lawrence Frank said the team was very disappointed with USA Basketball's decision to replace Kawhi Leonard on the Olympic roster last week. He added the decision belonged to USA Basketball, and he wished they'd given Kawhi more time to participate. You buy any of that, or is that just a Clipper executive trying to back up his guy because they know their star player is disappointed and they lost their other star player to Philly, and Harden may want out at any minute, so let's just keep everything.
That's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, well, Clipper's going to clip. Let's get Larry the Laker on to say that.
I don't know, man. That's not anything I really care about.
The 18 turnovers in the USA game, that got you ready for the Utah Jazz Summer League game. It's about 25 turnovers or so in that. That was a turnover-a-thon there. And they lose to Sacramento 82-70.
And I watched a good portion of that. And the home run derby was winding down. I've got no problem with that, man. Now's the time. If you're expecting perfect play out of teenagers, you're crazy. I thought collectively the three guys was the best that I've seen them.
Collier, Williams, and Filipowski?
Yes. No, three other dudes. I thought Filipowski was far more aggressive, just wasn't looking to be the old school European three-point shooter. Was using his height to his advantage and his size.
Go get a putback jam.
And Collier, make all the turnovers you want. I mean, we're not looking for him to be a star this year, are we? That would be ridiculous. But use your body. Carlissimo was talking about his body and his strength, and Cody Williams continues to show elite athleticism. they sucked as a team. I get that. If you're into that, then you can draw conclusions based on that. But I like
guys had
collectively the way
guys
they
had
played.
moments.
Multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought, I'm not speaking individually, I'm talking about all three of them. There's something there. I can see why they took all three of them when they took them.
Knicks owner James Dolan leveled continued criticism of the NBA's revenue-sharing policies in a letter outlining a denunciation of a possible 8% league office cut for the new $74.6 billion media deal. Says the national TV and streaming package renders the league regional sports networks as unviable. Quote, the NBA's made a move to an NFL model de-emphasizing and depowering the local market. Soon your only revenue concern will be sale of tickets and what color next year's jersey will be. Don't worry, because due to revenue pooling, you're guaranteed to neither be a success nor a failure. Of course, to get there, the league must take down the successful franchises and redistribute to the less successful.
Are they Robin Hood?
Basically, yes. And he's not happy because he's got a rich team in New York.
Well, they're successful right now. And they're New York, so they charge outrageous prices compared to everybody else, blah, blah, blah. I bleed for the guy.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag NFL.
For people to sit here and try to discredit Tua and say, he's not deserving of a contract is wild to me, man. Because a lot of guys on the team understands his value and understands, that we need him. We need his leadership. We need, his mindset. Like the mindset that he brings into each and every week is there. It's like Terminator almost, man. So I feel like he should be one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league.
Tua Tagovailoa is the Terminator, according to Tyreek Hill, stumping for his quarterback to get a big-time deal.
Well, I'm just glad he's not doing something else, speaking of Tyreek Hill.
Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver T. Higgins going to plan a franchise tag tender after the deadline for him and the team to reach an agreement expired. He'll make $21.8 million. He was the only player who was franchise tagged this offseason who did not reach a new multi-year deal.
According to the Daily Hill, or the Daily Mail, I should say, which I guess is Tyreek is the Daily Hill when you think about it. He's fathered kids with 3 different women in the space of 4 months, none with his wife. What do you think about that?
That's not a good trend right there.
Well, if you want to father a lot of kids, I guess it is.
Yeah.
How many have you fathered in a given year?
Maximum of 1. A lot of years, 0.
every year of my life, 0.
Bears rookie Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze remain unsigned as training camp approaches. Williams doesn't have an NFLPA certified agent. He's having to negotiate directly with the Bears and doesn't have a deal yet. It's kind of an odd situation right there for the number 1 pick, but...
Well, he's got his dad representing him, but because of the union rules, he has to have the negotiations himself.
Yeah, those are the rules, man.
There it is.
Rules. You can't break union rules.
Keeping the money in the family.
Yeah.
The once fractured relationship between Calvin Johnson and the Detroit Lions taking another step in being repaired. Megatron will be added to the team's Pride of the Lions during the ceremony this fall when the Lions face the Seahawks Monday Night Football September 30th. So, bring Megatron back and have a feel-good moment there at the stadium. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
I certainly don't spend any time engaged in that recruiting activity because we're focused on our 16, and I want to be respectful of the difficulty that's currently faced with that issue, that set of issues within the ACC and my colleague, Jim Phillips. We're focused on our 16, period. The last 3 questions are part of the reality, which is I've responded now 3 times where our focus lies. Our focus is on our 16 members. I have a responsibility to pay attention, and I'm certainly not going to fuel speculation on what happens next.
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, I'm not a recruiter. I won't tamper and bust up your league until I'm dang good and ready.
Well, they're dealing from a position of strength. They don't have to.
Yep. 16 is our today, and 16 is our tomorrow. Good grief.
Good grief.
Good grief.
Charlie Brown?
Yeah, sure. Fresno State coach Jeff
Make him more
Tedford.
popular.
Fresno State coach Jeff Tedford has stepped down from his position due to health concerns. The 62-year-old said a recent medical checkup prompted his decision. Tim Skipper, Fresno State's linebacker coach and assistant head coach, will serve as the interim head coach for this season.
All right, circling back to the SEC, just saw this come across. Brett McMurphy saying that the Big Ten and SEC are unlikely to add Florida State if it does leave the ACC and the ACC survives. The Big Ten and SEC don't want FSU because it doesn't make financial sense, no desire to expand, and, quote, they've been a disruptive partner, according to sources.
Yeah, that's what I told you. They're going to go to the Big 12.
Got to go to the Big 12 because the Big Ten and SEC are worried about tampering charges?
No, they don't want them. You continue
Yeah,
to hold. Did you hear what he just said?
Yeah. And you believe everything that's said?
Yes, I do.
That's what I thought.
And could you tell me what direction the sun rises? Because I've been confused my whole life. I believe everything everybody says at all times.
Good.
Yes. Do you believe what I just said? What people told me? And where are you getting your information from? You're just making it up.
I don't think Florida State started suing because nobody talked to them. I think this stuff plays out over years. I think USC played out over years. I think somebody wants them.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they
Our guy
went to
Brett.
lawyers and started breaking out.
I don't see the incentive of the SEC. What do they need them for?
I'd agree. I think there's more incentive for the Big Ten to need them. The SEC basically taking them to block them and not let the Big Ten expand there and become national.
I think they're in cahoots. That's my own opinion. The more powerful that both of us can get, the more influence both of us can have, the richer both of us can get. That's my own opinion. No one's told me that. And I could be 100% wrong.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Your winner of the 2024 Home Run Derby. Teoscar Hernandez outduels Bobby Witt Jr. to win it. The Dodger becomes the first LA Dodger to win the Home Run Derby. And Teoscar Hernandez, the champion.
40 years of Home Run Derby, and it's finally a Dodger.
Well, Duke Snyder won it for Brooklyn.
No.
Gil Hodges?
Okay, let's just start naming old-time Dodgers. Roy Campanella. Jackie Robinson. All-Star game tonight. Paul Skeens gets the start for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Baltimore's Corbin Burns gets the start for the American League. 6 o'clock on Fox tonight.
Did you hear the national anthem?
That was
Ingrid Andress.
That was a sad wailing of the national anthem. What was that exactly?
I don't know.
It was brutal.
Now, she had that breakthrough single, More Hearts Than Mine, which is a nice, touching story of when the guy breaks up and her mama and sister and dad are going to be hurting too. It's a cool tune. And she has a little sports background. Father was a coach for the Rockies. And I liked Ingrid. That was a rough one. Rough.
DJ PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Real Salt Lake captain Chicho Arango suspended 4 matches for violation of Major League Soccer's anti-harassment policy. He'll miss both matches this week, LAFC and the Colorado Rapids. He's going to miss the All-Star game. He's going to miss the League's Cup opening match against Atlas. Anti-harassment policy, and no one will say exactly what it is he said or did. But
What do you know?
I do not know much. I know that when I tried to inquire, I got shut down pretty quickly. That's a question for the league office. Well, the league office is closed. Still a question for the league office.
Well, when will it open?
It's probably opening right about now.
We'll step outside.
Okay, I will.
I mean, you told me we're off the air anyway.
It's for the streamers. Hello. The signal is down.
So you got plenty of time.
I'll work it in the commercial break and see. When they do stuff like this, they keep it in a super tight circle. It still hasn't come out what the New England Revolution coach, Bruce Arena, the best coach in the league for 20 years, what he did to get disciplined by the league and let go by the club. And
if you ask enough questions, I've got many years of experience.
That it will eventually come out.
That you'll find. I've never been rebuffed completely. The harder I work, the more info I find.
At some point, somebody will know and let it slip.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not just them. They tell people. That's how you get it. I mean, when Bronco got hired, I found out from another coach on another team. Didn't find out from anybody from BYU. Yeah. I mean, that's just an example that comes to mind.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. That's what's trending. Brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. Bob Casper, coming up at 8:30, Real Golf Radio co-host. It's the week of the Open Championship. We'll talk with Bob. Tim Lacombe, Jazz Radio studio analyst at 9 o'clock right here on The Zone. DJ and PK, stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
The rivalry's back.
Yeah, man.
You know, and a lot of people have their opinions on that, for and against, listening right now. But it's inevitable that game on November 9th is going to be bigger than it's ever been. No matter what BYU's situation is, no matter what Utah's situation is, because they're going to be playing in the Big 12, in a Power 4 conference, on a national stage. This rivalry's never had this kind of attention before. And I'm hoping, and I feel pretty confident that game's going to have a lot of meaning, one way or the other.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Disappointed in Yuck.
Why are you disappointed in Yuck?
Read your thing first. Come on. Find it and read it.
Hot Takes or Toast brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah.
Because I'm going to see Kenny Chesney tonight.
And it's Avicii for Band of the Day.
At your home away from home.
The Band of the Day is Avicii, brought to you by Live Nation for all the live events and concerts in 2024. Check out livenation.com. What's the hook for Avicii today?
Felt like it.
Oh, there it is.
You could have texted me that, you know.
Oh, this is your thing. I'm not going to step on it.
It's not my thing. This is a show thing.
No. You've taken it over. Hey,
yeah.
Guy wants to be a leader. I'm going to be a follower. It's always been my motive.
Your what?
My motive.
Your motive?
Mm-hmm. Look it up. Look at the freak up. That's okay. I'll have a good time at the soccer stadium. I don't see him anymore at the big baseball or football stadiums. I mean, those things are gigantic.
You're too far away? Not personal enough?
Yeah, after having seen him 4 times at the Hard Rock in Vegas, which they don't have anymore, literally right there to where my wife makes the heart sign, and in the middle of the song, he looks at her, pulls the mic away to his own heart and says, "Thank you." And I look at her like,
what are you doing?
You having a conversation with this guy?
Yeah, basically.
When you're that close, and then you go to the stadiums.
You've been spoiled. You can't enjoy it now.
100%. Well, you can't enjoy it as much, for sure. So, fortunately, he's coming. What's the soccer stadium called these days?
America First Field.
America First Field, yes, tonight. With, I don't know, man, but they probably can get 20,000 in there, right? What do they seat for max for soccer?
21,000 and something is the record. And that's with standing room only.
Standing room only?
Yeah.
On the
And then what do they do?
North side?
Yeah, what do they do for a stage? Do they take the seats out at the south end? They used to. I don't know if they still do that or not. They don't do as many concerts as they used to.
I've been there for shows. I don't know if they take them out or just block them off.
Yeah.
Not sure.
They used to in the south end take them out, and they had a concrete stage underneath what essentially were portable stands.
Yeah. I know that's where the stage is on that end.
Mm-hmm. So that would limit the seating a little bit.
Right. And then they can get out of there right away if they want.
And then it depends on if they put any, right off the stage into the back lot.
Away they go, yeah.
Yep. We're out of here.
Yeah. Right. They're usually
gone before everybody else gets to their cars.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's pretty much standard. And if they want to hang out, it's another story. But yeah, so they can boom, because that's the access point to the stadium where they can get the limos and everything in there, and away they go. So I'd imagine there'd be about 20, because then you can replace it with floor seats.
People on the field, depending on what
which
they
is
do.
I think is where our seats are. So getting an opportunity to see, and that's a great venue in the summer. I've been there several times. Paul McCartney played there. If it's good enough for Sir Paul.
Did you see the Eagles there too?
I did. Yeah. Chesney's played there multiple times.
Question of the morning. Dennis Dodd, CBS Sports, is Kalani Sitake on the list of coaches on the hot seat. How hot is it for him?
I don't think it can be very hot right now.
I would think that if they have another 5-7, he gets another year.
Me too.
For him to get fired would take, I think, major off the field problems or a complete 2-10 collapse or something. Maybe that would do it.
I don't want to jinx anybody, but they really haven't had major off the field problems in a long time.
Right.
I mean, they're going to have some. The code is very, very rigid, and you're dealing with kids.
Mm-hmm.
So you're probably going to have some, but, just hopefully for the kids' sake, it's not too grievous.
When it isn't too grievous and there aren't too many, I think then it looks like it's on the players. When there's a whole series, then it looks like it's on the coach.
Well, it depends on what it is, But I agree with you largely. I can see where they would let him go. But the thing about it that's calling me to the other side is they feel like they've made massive investments. How many analysts or whatever you want to call it, assistants to the assistants do they have now, Yak? And where they were lacking.
Well, they had 4 for a number of years during Kalani's early tenure, but off the top of my head, I can think of 8 right now.
Right. So they've made a financial investment. We know Jay Hill, the coordinators.
What kind of financial investment do they make? Unprecedented.
Yeah, that's according to Tom's words. Yeah, obviously. And so that's really cool that they've done that. So you got to get some return. The ROI.
Fact. True story.
So, but I don't think that it would be this season unless there was a total collapse and some type of player mutiny, and you just look like you were an overmatched coach. Which doesn't seem to be the case, because for argument's sake, say he was overmatched, just completely for argument's sake, he's got guys on his staff that aren't overmatched and can cover for him from that perspective. And that's what's cool is they hired, I believe that Jay Hill and Aaron Roderick, they're the rarity that they didn't have to go be trained on the job. They could take over having been a coordinator before. And that usually hasn't been the case.
Brandon Doman, come on down. First-time offensive coordinator.
Yeah. I mean, even Jeff Grimes, who'd been coaching for 25 years.
Had been OC.
Has stepped up into that role for the very first time, right? And so that's usually the case with them. Bronco was a coordinator under Rocky Long at New Mexico when he came over and took over, so he had some experience. But they're bringing in guys with track records, and so I don't think that the coaching staff would be a mess. They'll probably make a bonehead call now and again. I mean, everybody does, whatever. Or you think you got something, the player screws it up, and you look stupid. That when you're calling 65 whatever plays a game, things are going to happen. So I think that they have a coaching staff that the players believe in and they believe in, and from that perspective, they paid money to get these guys, good money, so they're going to have some type. But I just can't see that he would be on the hot seat. But from Dennis Dodd's perspective, I can see where he thinks he is.
Well, the industry trend and coaches are, because they are getting more resources and there is more of a return, on investment expected. When they don't get it, we see coaches fired after 2 and sometimes even after 1, but usually after 2 bad years. And so at BYU, and every school's standard for a bad year is different, but at BYU, 5-7 definitely qualifies as a bad year.
I can't think of anybody who's been fired after 1.
Everybody's gotten fired on that. Short notice has had something off the field.
I don't know, but nothing comes to mind. I mean, I assume you had somebody when you said that. I'm not arguing.
It seems like it was a quick trigger on people, but I'm trying to think who would have. I'd have to go through. It does seem like
the pro
level
level, yes, 100 times over. But at the college level, and I don't necessarily see that happening. Maybe it has. I don't know. Nothing comes to mind. So I don't think that's not even a question. It was not even a thought process that it would happen this year.
But Dennis off of 5-7.
Yeah.
Figures the second one, and he could be in trouble.
But I can see where he thinks that. I just don't think locally it's true, unless there was just an absolute bottoming out.
Brett says, I think what a lot of people are thinking, he posted on our Facebook page here, DJ and PK, I'm a Utah fan. I would really hope that BYU takes a page out of Utah's book and understands that after Utah's initial decent season in the Power 5 conference, they had 2 5-7 seasons. I hope everyone is patient with Coach Sitake.
Yeah, and what were they, 4-5 in league play the first year?
4-5 to 3-6 to 2-7. It was trending the wrong way in conference play.
That's amazing when you think about it.
But the 4-5 was bolstered by the perfect 4-0 in non-conference, and they were 8-5 after their bowl win.
Yeah, right.
So it felt better, although it wasn't a winning record in conference. But then 3-6 and 2-7, and they weren't bowl eligible. And
yeah, the 3-6 and 2-7, I was worried.
The heat was on.
There's no doubt about it. It's almost like for BYU, it's a good thing that the Utes struggled.
Yeah.
Because the lesson, look at those guys.
Right. The lesson is, well, be patient. It works out. Or if somebody else, the lesson would be, well, be patient. Maybe it works out. Be patient. It worked out for them. It could work out for you.
And I think he's already had his bottom out year. The 4-9 was atrocious. They were losing to UMass and some really, really bad teams.
Northern Illinois.
Yeah, last year, although Northern Illinois can be halfway decent sometimes.
That year they weren't, though.
Right. I got you. And you look at the complexion of last year, obviously it's fresh in our minds. Well, they played 2 really good ball games in terms of score, being close the last 2 games, right? And they were going with a kid who had never played before, and he was thrust in there, yada, yada. Now you can't really use that as, point to that this year. And if you want to go, well, you had a quarterback injury, and so well, if you want to point to the Utes, you can't just point to them when it's to your advantage, because Utah had that same thing, and I don't know if you guys heard this. They were playing with a walk-on pig farmer.
I do remember somebody mentioning something about that.
Every other minute.
I don't know who it was, because it was everybody.
And they still managed to win some games. So you can say, hey, wait a second here. If you're going to say, wow, that team over there, that program, they needed a few years to get its footing, and obviously it did. And they had a walk-on. You didn't have a walk-on playing quarterback. You had a guy who was lighting it up at the junior college range and was recruited. And you were paying him to come to our school. He's getting a free education, all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. That wasn't the case with the pig farmer. So what's the deal here? So you can look at it both ways if you want, which usually that tends to be the case.
Which is why Sports Talk Radio succeeds. Thank you. And those first 3 years in the Pac-12, the Utes had quarterback issues as well. And when Travis Wilson got in and got some experience.
Well, they've had quarterback issues like 90% of the time.
Right, but they were having, yes. But they were having Jordan Wynn was knocked out, and they didn't have a backup in the program with any experience because he had started as a freshman and no one can play behind him.
That's the story of their lives, though. They could find themselves in that predicament again. I mean, they seem to always be in that predicament. Yeah, Rising is the lone exception.
Whew.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. Keep him healthy.
I mean, they've had some other guys that were halfway decent. Wilson wasn't bad by the time he got going. Troy Williams certainly wasn't bad.
Right. And
Tyler
that's
Huntley
when
was good once he got going.
And they did have 1 year where they had Huntley and Troy Williams, so you felt like they had a little depth at quarterback that year.
Yeah.
But it was once Wilson got to I think it was his junior year, There were growing pains along the way, and that was part of the 2-7, and then they won.
But so what?
Yeah.
If he would have had another growing pain the next year for 3 years in a row, he would have been fired.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
No, you don't get to have growing pains 3 years in a row.
Yeah, you can single out whatever. If Croton, if the guys before Croton hadn't burned a year of Brandon Doman's red shirt playing a receiver for a handful of plays, he would have had him for the next year.
Yeah, his second year could look better.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, you can play that game till you're blue in the face, and it doesn't matter. You're judged by your record, and you can be judged by other stuff, but first and foremost is going to be how much did you win? And everybody knows that. That's why they're getting big-time money, 7-figure salaries, and they understand that. So he's had his mulligan. He's got to show progress this year to where you think, okay, next year, yeah. And that's where if they go 2-10, that's not progress, obviously, and he could be in trouble, and Dennis Dodd could be right, because you're running out of people to fire. You cleaned house offensively, well, up to 4-9, so be it, and then you, to an extent, cleaned house defensively. Was Guilford the only one who was retained, Yak, a couple years back? Yeah.
He's the only defensive coach.
Right, so you've already done that. You've already used those get-out-of-jail cards, basically. You fired the offense, you fired the defense. Nobody left to fire. You're not firing Jay Hill. We can make the offensive coordinator a sacrificial lamb if you want, but I don't know who you're going to get that's any better, and I think he's plenty good enough. But you're not Jay. There's no way you're firing Jay Hill. There's just no way. The only way Jay Hill moves is if he gets another head coaching job or he actually takes over BYU.
So takes a head coaching job, whether it's there or somewhere else.
Yeah. Right.
I would agree with that. Anything else would be surprising.
Right.
The other two would be,
unless you got some incredible amount of money to come be Morgan's DC. And BYU just can't match it, which I don't know that I see that. I mean, you get a big raise because I think Morgan's
well, I guess to your point,
can $2 million range
can a
now.
wealthier school throw enough money that he would take the same title, but the paycheck's just so much bigger?
Right.
Which, the way college football is going, we haven't seen a lot of that, but you wouldn't rule it out.
I wouldn't rule it out, no. And especially since it's not a big, massive move.
Right. I think it was head coaches, not coordinators, but I think that was what was stunning a couple of years ago when USC took Oklahoma's coach and LSU took Notre Dame's coach. Like, they're lateral moves, but they got so much money. All right, I'll leave Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, you get that kind of cash.
Which was phenomenal.
Right. I mean, that talks. So, but the great thing about it is you got 12 ball games to shut everybody up.
Win 7. Show progress.
Oh, yeah, they win 7. And especially if Retzlaff is doing, well, anybody but Bohannon is taking the majority of the snaps.
So that you have them back the next year to build off
You never
of.
know if a kid will come back. We've had head scratchers before in today's transfer world. But on the surface, it would look like if you had a quarterback who was not Bohannon and you won 7 ball games out of 12, then that would certainly show promise for next season. It's particularly if it was Retzlaff. It doesn't matter who it is for that matter, but particularly if it was Retzlaff, then and have to play well for that, and everybody would feel great about going into the 25 season. Maybe you can make your move in the standings and start threatening because, believe it or not, I'm not 100% sure on this.
But Utah's going to have a new quarterback.
I don't know for sure. I'm not going to go and stake my rep on that completely. But I think there's a decent chance. And for all we know, they could have a new head coach.
It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah, I think it happens in the next couple years. But I don't know that either. But
at least you'd have something to build off of. You have a better season, and you have the most important position in the sport. You got a veteran with some experience.
Right.
As long as it's not Bohannon.
Right. Yeah.
And then there's always, actually, not just the possibility, but the probability that multiple guys play over the course of the season. And so,
which is, I think, what will happen.
You've had some of this guy and some of that guy.
So you'll have,
whether it's performance or injury or both.
Next year, the quarterback will have significantly more experience than he has right now.
Because even if it's Bohannon for most of the year,
Yeah.
the three other guys, somebody's going to play some of it.
Yes. And you'll feel, I believe this time next year, the program will be in a better spot than it is today. Not saying that it's in a bad spot today, but I just think that as they go into their third year into the conference, recruiting, because they had, what did they have? They have a 2-year lead in, right? To get before they started Big 12 play. So at that point, when you got the thing, so it was in 21 because it was the day before they beat Utah.
Yeah, September 10th they got the invite.
Right,
And September 11th.
2021.
Yeah.
Right. So you sign LDS kids at that point.
And they go on their mission, and they come back.
And now they've been back a year or two.
And they have the year back so that they're closer to 100%.
Right, right. They've gotten through that rust that they speak of. I have to go. I didn't serve a mission and all that. And I wasn't a D1 athlete, so they talk about that.
It's a long, slow pipeline, but at 4 years, you start to get some of the – and plus, if you have some success in the league for whatever you're doing in the transfer portal where you get the immediate bang for the buck.
Uh-huh.
You have some success, maybe you're getting better guys out of the transfer portal.
And they know how to negotiate the transfer portal better. They've spoke about that, how they believe they probably took too many guys. And so next year, going forward, they would have another year of experience involved in it, and so they would be able to feel better about that, I think. So, get through this season, get to 6 wins. If you got to 7 wins, then you should feel good about yourself.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Bob Casper, Real Golf Radio, coming up at 8:30. The Open Championship coming up next. The song is We Are the World. This is We Are the Games. We will get to that next. Right now, we're going to qualify a golfer. You win a golf major giveaway. Be caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. You'll be assigned a golfer, one of the top 25 players in the world. Someone else will get the field. For this week's Open Championship at Royal Troon, if your golfer wins, you'll win FootJoy rain gear in honor of the Open from our friends at UNA Golf, serving Utah golfers since 1971.
This is Hanson Scotty.
Let's do it.
Kalani, Sitake, what is the most you've paid for a concert ticket, and what concert was it?
For me, MC Hammer.
Oh, nice.
I had the parachute pants, you know, all that stuff ready to go. I mean, don't get me started, guys.
No,
you can
we won't.
still listen to the stuff right now. It's good, clean, wholesome music. You know, the whole family can have parachute pants and go out.
That's true.
And then do their dances and stuff like that. You know, Can't Touch This. I mean, he even had some slow songs, you know, songs about praying.
Pray.
You know, come on, man. Like, he's got it all.
What kind of a show is this? Catch Hans Olsen and Scotty G every day from noon to 3 on 97.5 1280 The Zone, powered by KSLSports.com.
You got your way, PK. The band of the day.
I'm getting my way either way. I'm going to the show.
The band of the day is now suddenly Kenny Chesney. Regardless, it is still brought to you by Live Nation. For all the live concerts and events in 2024, check out livenation.com. Live Nation doubling down on the changing of the band of the day.
The bands of the day.
The bands of the day.
I mean, whoever said there's no limit.
I haven't seen the bylaws, but I believe you to be right.
Right.
Hey, the person put the deal together originally is not even here anymore, so we can do whatever we want with it.
Is he deceased?
No, just moved on from the company.
Oh, so he's gone, and he ain't coming back?
As far as I'm aware.
That's the song you chose.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, let's have. We can have bands of the day. What the heck? Why not? You got a different audience, as you guys tell me.
That's a true story.
Right.
As the consultant told us a long time ago, every segment is a show.
And every show is a segment. And I'm ready to go, irregardless.
Question up on our Facebook page. Are you into college football 25?
Yes.
Yes.
First, I want to be into 24 first. Then I'll be into 25 next year.
And then 26, and so on, and so on.
Eventually, I'll call it quits.
Kevin, no. I'm a mature, responsible adult.
So was Yakamami, and he just said yes.
Yeah, pound sand, dude.
He says pound sand, dude. That almost sounds like a sand dune.
I played quite a bit yesterday.
He played quite a bit. He got nothing done. He was non-productive.
Daniel.
His wife left him, and he didn't even know because he was playing 25.
Mrs. Hatch out the door. Bye.
Daniel, who's from North San Pete High, Snow College in the University of Phoenix, with a stop at Utah State, says, yes, I'm in.
Well, somebody's got to be in. That's why they're putting it out.
They're making money off it.
Yeah.
Someone's opening the wallet.
Right.
The credit card.
What is the enticement or the attraction, Yakamami?
I started playing Bill Walsh football and whatever they created that in '98.
Understood.
I own every version of the NCAA
Okay,
football.
so you're addicted to it.
But why
what
is this one just because it's the other ones and it's what you do?
Yeah, it's nostalgia's sake. And it was fun to have my son. When it launched yesterday, we were sitting down and we played a game. He'd never played. He played Madden with me, but he'd never played NCAA football.
How old is the
before.
kid?
He is 6. So he's getting into
So
it.
you're bonding with your 6-year-old.
With this version, it's kind of when I started getting into the original NCAA football, which has now been retitled college
And does he
football.
not have a big-time NFL fan, but he has he likes the college game?
Yeah.
So it's more fun for him?
Well, he knows what Dad does for work, and it's mainly covering college football in particular, so he's got an affinity for it because I do a lot of that.
And it's summer. I mean, don't get in the way of homework.
Sure, yes, and that's the other thing about it is there's some downtime right
We don't want you to be raising no delinquent. In 10 years, we want to say, oh, man, that kid was raised right.
Well, we'll see what we can do on that front.
The latest Jazz draft pick.
Yeah, I know.
He was raised right. He can pass with his left hand.
He was raised right. And then 2 years later, I want out of here.
That comment from our listener, Kevin, no, I'm a mature, responsible adult, has yet generated a lot of replies from people with gray hair and or white hair. I am too, and I still play video games. All a variety that looks like that.
Oh, they're going after him?
They are. They are. They don't want to put up with this. I pay my taxes. I have a roof over my head and 3 square meals on the table.
You pay your tax because you're rich. You pay taxes.
I do.
Because what I've heard, you folks don't pay your share.
Yeah, I'm not rich enough to get into that.
Oh, but
club.
you're still okay. But that just admits you
Paycheck
are rich.
is why I live in Utah.
You're not rich enough, but you're still rich.
I would say
no.
I would say that about 80%
You saved the
of
school
America is
$600,000?
rich.
600,000.
80%?
Yeah.
How do you figure that one? You're a money guy. I'm intrigued to know.
There's I don't have the stat in front of me, but there's a number globally, like what number 10% of the world makes, and most of America is way over that number.
Oh, you're going world, though. Is that accurate and fair? I mean, some of these places when they say these sweatshops, $1 a day.
$1 a day.
Well, you can't really count that.
Well, sure you can. Those are people living that existence. So I think that does count.
But that skews it, though. That's not real existence in our country. No one in our country is making $1 a day.
So a guy who played basketball overseas told me what it taught him is that carpeting is a luxury.
Ooh. Man, I got a luxury coming on Thursday.
Yes. Yeah. We're Americans. We have a lot of luxury.
Okay, yeah, sure.
But right. So everyone compares themselves to the neighbor, right? The house down the street is worth twice whatever your house is, or 50% more, or pick your number. So everybody can convince
yours
themselves.
versus mine.
Can convince themselves.
Especially the remodel. Is the moat being remodeled?
The moat is being remodeled, yes.
Nice. No wonder why I couldn't get within 100 yards of that place.
Where are the albino alligators in the meantime? They over at Hogel?
Yes. Yes, they're boarding. We've boarded the albino alligators.
That was a good
one. We got a big aquarium.
Oh, I saw the moving vans and then trucks.
Got a big aquarium. And
I was wondering.
Took them over there.
I was golfing at Bonneville, and I heard all those noises. I wondered what was going on.
I'll come clean. We got so many albino alligators. There wasn't room for them all at Hogel. One is in the pond at Liberty Park, so be careful.
Oh, good to know. Good to know.
So be careful.
So this guy's Pablo Escobar with the hippos down in Colombia is what we're getting at, PK. All of a sudden they're going to be an infestation.
No, there's no hippos. Oh yeah, I couldn't turn the alligators loose. The Great Salt Lake. We got alligators and crocs. Which one's freshwater and which one's salt?
Saltwater crocodiles.
Yeah. Take crocs in the Great Salt
in
Lake.
terms of blessings, am 100% of the rich.
That's
I
good.
am plenty rich.
Yes.
I'm an overabundance of richness.
Welcome,
I just want to make that clear.
Welcome to middle class and upper middle class in the U.S. of A.
What am I?
I don't know. I haven't gone online and looked up everybody's income.
What are you talking about?
Well, I was just notified yesterday that I could. I'll tell you this.
Not everybody's. That's what I was told.
Well, yeah,
man.
but you have to have everybody to have the scale.
Oh, it's like that parade
That's what
cover
you're.
where they
That's
used
what you're
to have-
arguing. That the scale, like that's not reality in the U.S. We
I'm not arguing
dismiss.
anything. I'm arguing you're rich.
You're not arguing anything, and then you literally say what you're arguing. I'm not arguing anything.
Right.
Yes, you
But
are. You're
no,
arguing I'm rich.
No, I'm not. If you
just contradicted
that's
yourself.
like saying I'm arguing 2 + 2 is 4.
Okay, would you guys, of the topic we were talking about, would you guys so I simulated the first season in EA Sports College Football 25.
Yak wants to get back to the football. He's not interested in this nonsense. Yes.
Would you like the results for what BYU and Utah did?
I've heard about this. I've heard about one of our coworkers wants to create some content and have multiple people playing multiple local teams.
Yeah, so I simulated the first season just to see what.
How many times? 1,000 times?
Just one time.
Hey, 6-year-old kid, you're not done. 72 games isn't enough.
We didn't play it. You straight up simulated it.
Okay.
Like didn't mess
Simulation, buddy.
Didn't mess with any of the settings or anything like that.
No messing with the settings.
And we're sure the settings are correct before they're messed with?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah. Come on. Let's go.
Default, I guess, is the best way to go about it.
All right.
And you made the Utes go 3-9?
Yes, I made the Utes go 3-9. No, they actually went 11-3. They finished 13th in the country, missed out on the Big 12 title game by finishing 4th in the conference. BYU finished 6-7 overall, finishing 12th in the conference, having made a 6-6 record in a bowl game.
That'll be interesting as far as, and Utah very well could do that. They finish better. I don't much think they'll finish worse. But if BYU gets 6-6 and loses the bowl game,
that is an interesting place to land.
What
on.
level of accountability is held against them for having a losing record 2 years in a row?
It's a step forward because they're bowl eligible. But it's back-to-back losing seasons.
Yeah. And I guess you'd have to look at and see how many folks were.
Who did they play? Who played? Did the other team have its full team? Did you have your full team?
But that's sort of a little bit of a gray area there.
That is a gray area.
Yeah.
DJ PK, it's 97.5, The Zone. Tim Lacombe, Jazz Radio student analyst, is talking Summer League hoops with us in 1 hour. Bob Casper's here in half an hour talking Open Championship on The Zone.